more on both. But I mean, that last second serve was perfectly satisfactory. In fact, it was like throwing
it in the way she bends her back.
Yeah.
She bends her back too far back, and she can no longer snap back.
But I don't think there's much right about the motion, frankly.
No. To give you the comparison, Graf's first serve is 96 miles an hour, and that's 25 miles an hour faster.
Yeah.
Graf serves for the opening set, gets a good first serve in. Sabatini does well to dig it out on the forehand wing. Graf goes cross-court, and now Sabatini comes in behind a sliced backhand approach, plays a forehand volley, a backhand volley from Sabatini. Graf should pass her now, and does so. The volleying wasn't decisive, and it has to be on Graf. You can't afford to give your opponent
15 love.
3 opportunities at the pass.
I'll make a bet with you. Sabatini will come in all the time now.
Fred, I would never bet against someone as knowledgeable as you.
I've watched them play too often.
Well, it's Graf coming in now behind a backhand sliced approach. She plays the forehand volley cross-court and pops it away very nicely.
30 love. The backhand passing shots continually down the line. Steffi must know that.
Steffi beat her to the net there, and I thought that was the most positive mental point I've seen in 2 years.
Graf, 30 love, serving for the first set. Serves down the centre. It's a good serve. Well got back by Sabatini, who now plays a forehand deep to the backhand, and Graf, who should have moved in, plays on the retreat and loses the point.
The very same 30-15 conviction she showed the point before. She did not show them that point, but it is 5-4, 30-15. Maybe she's planning on winning this big point.
But I can't help feeling that 2 years ago she would have had that conviction all the time.
I think she's got to win this first set.
She serves now and has missed the first serve for the first time in this game. She's got 84% of her first serves in so far, which is a wonderfully high percentage. Second serve, a backhand sliced return, and there's Sabatini racing into the net, and Graf nets on the forehand. You've been around a bit, haven't you, Fred? You've seen a bit.
Yeah. If she'd been playing David Wheaton then, he would have complained about her moving around.
No, if she'd been playing Boris Becker.
Boris Becker's been complaining.
Yeah.
That's right.
So I was wrong.
Rarely happens.
Graf gets a good first serve in, and is this return? Oh, it's right onto the baseline underneath us. I was thinking he was going to drift out. Now Graf plays a low slice, and here comes Sabatini chipping and charging, and she's just chipped a bit too deep over the baseline.
She was lucky with that first one. It really was. Right on the back of the line.
Well, a first set point then for Steffi Graf. After 32 minutes of absorbing tennis, really, as we're beginning to see Sabatini pressing forward more and more. Graf serves, a forehand slice return from Sabatini, a forehand from Graf to the forehand wing of Sabatini, who goes cross-court. A forehand down the line now from Sabatini, and from Graf. A forehand now into that backhand corner, and Sabatini, a backhand with a lot of topspin. A much deeper one this time from Graf. Is a clean winner, and Steffi is clenching her fist as she takes the opening set in 33 minutes. And as I make way for my fellow commentator Tony Adamson, let's have the comments of our experts on that opening set. Fred, starting with you.
Well, to serve. I've seen this so often. To begin with, Gabriela sort of fiddles around with spins and thises and that's and big ones and fast ones and short ones and doesn't come in. Then she gets, at the end of the first set or towards the end of the first set, she comes in and does well. Why doesn't she come in right from the beginning?
I couldn't agree more. She's got to play with the intent to win here. She's almost 15. Squandered that impact, Fred.
These girls don't give you a minute, do you, to get settled? Here we are then. Sabatini is serving from the far end, and she's a set down, as you've heard. It's 1-up to the German blonde, and can the dark-haired Latin do anything about it? That's the next question. As Sabatini serves into the backhand corner, slice return from Graf, who runs round the backhand, plays a forehand cross-court. Sabatini with a topspin backhand right into the forehand corner. Graf plays a forehand and then runs round the backhand again. This is a good rally. Drives the ball into the backhand corner of Sabatini, and then puts a forehand into the net, does Graf.
15-all.
Good match, Christine.
It's certainly close to.
I know you don't think they're playing at their very best, but they have met each other, 30 times? So they know each other's games pretty well. Maybe that's got something to do with it.
And I think, too, that we're not used to this combination, playing against each other. We've had Chrissy and Martina for so long, so this is different.
Still can't quite get used to the fact that Navratilova isn't out there. The last Saturday at Wimbledon, she's not here. Now, Graf it is with a slice to the backhand. In comes Sabatini, a backhand smash. Graf can get this back on the forehand down the line, but into the net. And she doesn't like that.
30-15.
Steffi turns her head away there. She had a good opportunity there because the smash wasn't good enough.
Well, it wasn't, but she's not going to hit an outright passing shot winner with Gabriela 4 feet from the net and herself 5 feet outside the baseline. Even the arrogant forehand cannot quite make it.
Sabatini then, serving from the end opposite the royal box, the roller end, serving left-hand court to the backhand. Steffi once again runs round the backhand, plays a forehand, and then moves across and plays a forehand cross-court into the corner. Sabatini gets it back, Graf down the centre of the court this time. Now she jigs back behind the baseline, plays a full-length forehand, driving into the forehand corner. She's moving Sabatini around, but in the end, she misdirects her forehand cross-court.
40-15.
Marvellous commentary position we've got here, incidentally, over the left-hand corner of the court, and we're looking out on shirt sleeve order today. A sea of sun hats and sunshades and sunglasses. It's a magnificent sight and a magnificent occasion, and we're seeing a great final so far. 40-15, the first game of the second set. Graf having taken the first set 6-4. Sabatini down the centre, high kicker. Graf gets it right at the top of the bounce, then comes in with the backhand slice, comes into the net. Sabatini down the line, well out this time.
40-30.
Huge backhand, great power, no direction.
Well, I think the direction was the same as it always is for that backhand of hers, down the line, Tony, but a rather wild shot on that occasion.
Steffi getting in first, good to see, because that really was an obvious opportunity for her to do so.
Graf now settles right down beside us here as Sabatini serves into the backhand corner. Once again, Graf runs round that. Have we seen her play a topspin backhand yet today? Sabatini gets this one back. A great forehand from Graf, who comes to the net. Backhand cross court right into the corner. Good tactical play by Steffi Graf there.
Not that physical either.
She did play one topspin backhand, Tony, Steffi, down the line.
I don't remember it, but you've got a far better memory than I have, Christine.
It went into the net, Tony.
That's why she hasn't played any others, Fred.
Yeah.
No, in matches like this, you rarely see her play that topspin backhand. Sabatini now at deuce. Remember, she had a point to take the first game. And she'll be thinking about this seriously now because Graf, I think, has just got on top psychologically in this game, in this set, as Sabatini serves. And Graf returns to the backhand now, a backhand slice with plenty of air this time from Graf. Now another backhand slice, a little lower trajectory this time. In comes Sabatini on a backhand approach shot. But it was a tentative one from Sabatini into the bottom of the net. And I get the impression that Steffi Graf is slowly but surely getting a hold on this.
She's certainly going ahead now, Tony. That backhand really was, well, awful of Gabriela Sabatini. She tried to drop it short, but was late in making up her mind, and really the worst shot of the match.
So here's an important point indeed now. Sabatini serves into the backhand corner. Once again, Graf has time to run round it and play a forehand. Now she has to scamper across the baseline. Cross court she goes with the forehand. And Sabatini balloons her forehand out over the baseline. And Sabatini rather sadly and dejectedly wanders back to the chair.
First game, second set. First set, Miss Graf.
From the Caribbean sunshine of London to the Caribbean sunshine, or temperature at least, of Trent Bridge, John Agnew.
Yes, the players are taking a well-earned drinks break here. It is roasting hot. The West Indies 338 for sevens. They have lost another wicket since you were with us. Derek Pringle took the new ball. It was in fact his third spell within an hour. Graham Gooch has been shuffling his bowlers around. He bowled to Dujon. The ball swung away, and Dujon edged the ball to Hick at second slip, who dived forward to his left, took a fine catch. Dujon went for 19. That was 324 for 7. They're now 338 for 7, so that's their lead, 38 runs. Not much batting to come, just Walsh and Allen. So a vital hour here, I should think, as far as this entire game goes. If these two can bat on and get some sort of a lead, well, England could find themselves in trouble. They'll be trying desperately, of course, to whittle out these last 3 wickets. 338 for 7.
It's 96 degrees, we're told, right in the centre of the centre court at the moment. And through McMillan, Steffi's not exactly hot. She's very warm.
Yes, she is. I think actually the match has been a pretty good one. When one puts all the essence into a bottle, it's a Wimbledon final, 2 wonderful players, attractive athletes, one blonde, one gold, an intense historic rivalry, an ex-champion, a future champion. Perhaps I think really the tennis has been good.
Do you think Steffi can close it out in 2?
Well, I prefer the looks of Steffi Graf, but it's the fragrance, Gabriela Sabatini, that I think should hang in the air just a little longer.
Okay, Tony?
I could really not have put it better myself, Frew, even if I had 24 hours to think about it. Steffi Graf has taken the opening game then, broken Sabatini for the second time in the match, and Graf, remember, has held on to her serve. And so that could be a psychological advantage as well, as she serves into the backhand corner of Sabatini. And in fact, it was called a fault. I'm interested in the height of these two players. Sabatini always looked to be taller than Graf, and in fact I see in the book that Graf is an inch higher, which has always surprised me. And they even out there now, Sabatini looks the taller girl. She comes in on a backhand slice, right on the baseline. Graf goes down the line, into the sidelines. Don't you think Sabatini looks taller?
I don't actually, Tony, but I was surprised.
Oh, that's fine.
No, I was surprised when they stood together at the beginning of the match that they looked exactly the same height.
Well, in fact, according to the books, which I always go by, Steffi is an inch higher, but I always get the impression that Sabatini is slightly taller.
Perhaps you look at her more closely.
Well, maybe I do.
I'll tell you, in the showers, they look the same height.
Do they?
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't know anything about that. Here's Graf now with a backhand down the line. Sabatini cross-court to the volley. Good play by Sabatini that time. Snatched at it a little bit, but still got the ball right in the middle of her racket, and a forehand volley cross-court for a winner.
I'd like to see Gabriela entirely omit backhand topspins from the baseline and use that slice approach even more. Get that ball low and get the heck in.
15:30 then. The sun boiling hot out here on centre court as Graf serves. Sabatini returns it with no pace. Graf comes in on a forehand. Down the line goes Sabatini, but Graf's there with a backhand volley right on the top of the net, and she slices it away for a winner.
That's you.
I just get the impression that Graf is playing right to her game plan, whereas Sabatini doesn't seem quite to know what to do at the moment.
Exactly, Tony. Sabatini seems more uncertain, and Steffi Graf seems to know where she's going, much more now, too.
And that's very important at this stage in the match. Graf having taken the first set in 33 minutes and a break-up in the second. There's no doubt about it. The German girl in the ascendancy here, and she serves wide out to the forehand net court.
Well, I can't imagine anything more constructive when you are a little bit confused than getting yourself into a high physical gear and watching the ball more closely.
She serves wide to the forehand, just a fault. Turns very quickly, Steffi Graf. Always in far too much of a hurry for my liking. I'd like her to settle down a little bit more. Now she serves a double fault.
30-40.
Good place to start it.
Well, here is a great opportunity for Gabriela Sabatini perhaps to right the scales a little bit. They've been certainly tilting in the Germans' favour in the last few minutes, having taken the first set. Let's see what happens with this serve as Graf goes wide to the backhand. It's got back by Sabatini high and only just, and Graf goes down the line.
Sabatini.
We've got a match now, Fred.
And a roar of approval around this centre court as Sabatini breaks serve for the first time in the match. I'm interested to know from all of you who you think the crowd favours here. It's very interesting, isn't it? I know there'll be a lot of sympathy with Steffi Graf due to the problems she has had domestically off the court. But I just wonder which way the crowd will want this one to go.
I think they want the match to last, Tony. I think they don't want to...
I think that's right. The next rally is on. 1-1 in the second set. Sabatini slices cross-court. That was great. And in comes Graf with an equally good one. Sabatini goes down the line, and Graf with a forehand volley. Out. Graf, is it my...
15 love.
Do I get the impression that Graf is coming more to the net in the last few games than she has in the previous set?
Yes, she's trying to beat Gabriela Sabatini to the net now.
It started sort of late in the first set, I think.
Sabatini, royal box end, and it really is a right royal box, as you've been hearing. As Sabatini serves now wide to the backhand, but not a great serve, not a great deal of depth to it. Now she comes to the net on a backhand slice. Up goes the lob from Graf, but it's well out over the baseline. And
30 love.
That's a very low slice approach shot, and both players are winning the points almost outright on the approach shot when it's
well, it
that
was a
high
very
quality.
loose serve, wasn't it, from Sabatini? Lucky to get away with it, really. 30 love, royal box end. Sabatini, right-hand court, serves now, and Graf jigging around at the far end there, a la David Wheaton. And she's now settling a little bit more for this second serve, looking very determined, very eager as Sabatini serves. Graf runs round the backhand, plays a thundering forehand, got blocked back really by Sabatini. Now a rolled forehand from Sabatini. Graf goes down the line, sliced backhand from Sabatini into the corner. But once again, Graf runs round the backhand, and suddenly a whole sequence of unforced errors from the German racket.
Well, Gabriela's keeping that backhand slice nicely low cross-court. If she starts hitting a topspin shot cross-court, it's not going to bounce high enough to bother Steffi on this grass court. So why not keep it below the strike zone of Graf?
3 points for a 2-1 lead in the second set. Sabatini serves down the centre. Graf gets it up with a little bit of topspin on the forehand. And now,
40-15.
for the first time for a while, Sabatini makes an error on that forehand, putting it out over the baseline. 40-15.
If the ball comes straight to Gabriela at the baseline, she seems to play it almost as a practice shot. She just swings at it with topspin.
Sabatini serves down the centre. Oh, another loose serve, but got back with not a great deal of power from Graf. Now Sabatini comes to the net on the backhand slice. Graf goes down the line, right on the line.
40-30.
Surely not the best choice of shot to come to the net on, was it?
No, I don't like the backhand slice cross-court approach as a regular diet. I think she should take that one, shove it back cross-court on a slice, wait for the next ball, and maybe go down the line or down the middle. At least mix it up a little bit.
Sabatini then from 40-love to 40-30. Left-hand court serves. A better length serve this time. Now a backhand slice from the Argentinian. In comes Graf with a forehand top spin right into the corner. Now she launches another forehand into the backhand corner. Each time got back by Sabatini. Graf finishes the... Oh, she doesn't finish the rally off with a smash. Now she does.
I think she aimed that one at Truman.
Juice.
Not a very nice thing to do to your former doubles partner, is it?
No, there's obviously a little bit of feeling between the two girls, having played doubles together. It does make a difference when you know you've got to play your doubles partner.
Yes.
Feeling, I want to hear you elaborate, if you could, later, Chris, on that.
Juice from 40-love to Juice now. 1-all. Second set. Sabatini serves down the centre again. Not a great length on that first serve. Now roll backhand that Barbara doesn't like. Now a backhand slice into the forehand corner out.
Advantage, Miss Graf.
Oh dear, and you just wonder what Carlos is thinking about this Christine up there, because she had 40-love. Great opportunity to lead in this second set, and so far has failed to take advantage.
He looks fairly serious, Tony, from what I can see, but Mr. Sabatini has made a sort of sign of parting his hands, as though he was going to clap, as though either to make Steffi run more or to close into the net more. I didn't know quite what it meant.
Fred is the one that can understand these coaches' signs. The next rally is on. It's important rally too. A backhand slice from Sabatini, and it floats out into the sidelines, and Sabatini, from being very much in the ascendancy in that game, has lost it.
Miss Graf leads 2-1 second set, and by 1 set to love.
Now, what do you think this will do to Sabatini's mind, Fred?
I don't know, she's walking very, 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 very slowly. You know, Martina has two paces. When she's winning, she's fast in between points. When she's losing, she almost stops dead in between points. And Sabatini is almost as slow after that game and in between points at this stage as Martina is when things are going badly.
Well, she's not nearly as fast when she's walking fast as is Martina. However, her slow is right up there with Martina.
What were you going to elaborate on, Barbara?
You were going to elaborate on doubles partners playing each other, was that it?
Well, not so generally, but specifically these two girls. Chris, the feeling, did you want to say something about their amicable relationship, or why they parted, or...
I wouldn't know why they parted, Barbara, but all the time that Gabriela was partnering Steffi, Gabriela was definitely the supporting cast.
Yes, definitely.
And it's very hard to come out on court and be the star.
I think they were the only doubles pair I ever saw who actually won a major title and won the Wimbledon title, of course, who hardly ever spoke to each other.
Oh, well, I think Mr. Hewitt and Mr. McMillan did a pretty good job.
I'm talking about the ladies now. We know, we know those two. Definitely had nothing going for them.
No, I didn't say that.
Graf serves then, leading 2-1 in the second set, and by a set to love, she comes to an end, a backhand slice. Up goes the lob from Sabatini, a smash from Graf. Sabatini goes down the line, out.
15 love.
Well, that was a good overhead from Steffi. Fred's whispering slow, and I agree. Gabriela, you've got to wake up, and you've got to do it now.
Well, I can tell you, listeners out there, that Steffi Graf looks to me like she's heading for her third Wimbledon title here, because I don't think Sabatini knows quite how to play this match now. And she's a much more intelligent player than she was last year, and has learnt a great deal, and is more the complete tennis player probably than Graf in some ways on grass. But she looks to be in turmoil out there at the moment as Sabatini.
Steffi actually gave her service game away, only to have Gabriela turn around and give her own. So while we have heavy hitting, it does seem like nerves in the second set.
It's 15-all. Graf serves wide to the forehand. Sabatini just lobs the ball back into play. Now she comes in on the backhand slice. Graf goes down the line. Sabatini's there. Wasn't a good return from Graf on the forehand. Sabatini had really the easiest of shots, bending the knees gently and just
15-30.
Played a smooth, controlled forehand volley into the open court. But bad play by Steffi there, really.
Yes,
on the
every now and
forehand.
again we see Gabriela play superbly, coming into net on a good approach shot, but she seems unable, probably because she's under so much pressure from Steffi, to keep it up.
Steffi Graf with the white headband round her blonde hair as she serves. Now that's a loose second serve. Sabatini's right on top of it, but Graf goes down the line. Sabatini having come in on a backhand slice. Graf beat her down the line with a forehand.
Yes, but the backhand slice was really right in the middle of the court. It wasn't nearly fierce enough.
Well, it may not have been fierce, it may not have been deep, but it was so low. And Steffi did well to get it up.
That was a nervy rally, wasn't it, on both sides of the net, wasn't it, really? The tennis is sometimes erratic, Christine, out here, isn't it?
Yes, I'm sure both girls probably can play even better than they are at the moment, but their styles just don't make it possible.
Graf royal box then serves, returned on the forehand by Sabatini.
30-40.
Backhand slice from Steffi Graf into the net. Well, I've followed Steffi Graf's career right from when she first won her gold medal at the Los Angeles Olympics, when she was I think the youngest competitor in the field then. And she's a popular lady all over the world, particularly in Australia, I remember, where they really do love her there, and she's very popular here too. She serves now at 30-40, comes in a backhand slice right inside the baseline. Down the line goes Sabatini, gets a net cord into the bargain, and another roar of approval from the crowd here.
Miss Sabatini.
Egging on the underdog as usual.
Second set.
I think that's why we heard that roar of approval, don't you, Christine?
Yes, I think they feel she's perhaps not as confident or as sure as herself as the Steffi Graf. She hasn't been on the centre court in a final before, and they feel she needs the support.
51 minutes they've been on court now, and it's building up into a great final. How this centre court crowd would love a third set here as Sabatini serves wide to the forehand. Got back by Graf, who runs round, plays a forehand into the corner again. Sabatini, now a drop shot from Graf. Sabatini's there, backhand down the line. Graf hoists the lob, it's good and deep. Sabatini's got to let it bounce, it's right on the line. She too hoists the lob mid-court. Graf waits for it to bounce, plays a gentle forehand down the centre of the court, gentle forehand smash. Now she comes in on the backhand. Oh dear! A very tentative backhand from Steffi Graf, but that really was an elementary stroke. Out over the baseline.
15 love.
What a great rally that was.
It certainly was. Had both girls stretched to their limits.
I don't think that Steffi has even close to the kind of feel with her strings and her hands that Gabriela does as a player, and that was an obvious example.
So 2-all. 15 love. Sabatini is set down already, serves to the backhand. Steffi runs round that backhand, plays a forehand with great venom and pace and accuracy. Now another one right into the corner, just blocked back by Sabatini, who then moves into a forehand, that lovely flowing forehand stroke of hers. Now a backhand slice into the forehand corner. Cross court goes Graf, slice down the line from Sabatini. Now a backhand down the line, great shot from Sabatini. A lovely backhand with great power low over the highest part of the net. And that was
30 love.
probably the best stroke of the match from her point of view.
A great rally. It's really come alive.
30 love. This match
Olga,
now
pick up the ball,
building
please.
up.
If there's a thrust, it's Gabriela's backhand down the line for the juggler.
Now then, 30 love. Can she take the lead in this this second set? She needs to get in and get her rhythm and confidence going. I'm sure she is confident. It's just that this is a huge occasion for her, the second big occasion of her tennis life, having won the US Open last year. And now she serves
30-15.
a double fault, and that wasn't quite the right place to serve it, was it, Fred?
No.
Again, going for a harder second serve than first serve.
Yes, what about a three-quarter pace first serve and let Steffi take the initiative?
Great opportunity there. 30-15. Sabatini serves into the backhand corner. Graf goes on the topspin backhand that time. Now a forehand. Oh, no, she
40-15.
I think gave Sabatini the impression she was going to go down the line, and instead she tried a cross-court forehand which hit the tape and came back on Graf's side. So 40-15, 2 points to take Sabatini into a 3-2 lead in this highly competitive second set. Graf having won the first set 6-4. Sabatini serves down the centre. Sliced back by Graf. Sabatini down the line. Another net cord this time. Sits up for Graf, who goes cross-court on the backhand. Now she's at the net. Graf. Sabatini goes down the line. Graf cuts it off with a drop. Volley. Winner.
40-30.
Match is on a slightly different plane now, would you say, Fred? Standard of tennis a
Not
bit
much
better?
in it. I think if Steffi loses this, she'll look back on losing her service, the second game and the fourth game.
Yep.
Could have been 4-love.
Sabatini then, 40-30. This for a 3-2 lead, second set. Serving towards us. We got a marvellous view as we look over Steffi Graf's shoulder. Graf hurls this back on the forehand. Sabatini's at the net.
Game is Sabatini.
Graf drives the ball back straight at Sabatini. Sabatini's backhand volley off her tummy is a winner.
Miss Sabatini leads 3-2, second set. First set, Miss Graf.
Wouldn't mind being in Buenos Aires tonight, Fred, if Sabatini wins this one.
Wouldn't want to be there if she loses.
Could be interesting.
Yeah, but you see, it's the same pattern. I've seen it so often with Steffi in the lead with the advantage and blows it. It has happened 2 or 3 times in a row. I mean, that last point, there are 99 places in the court she could have put it where Sabatini couldn't even have seen it. And she puts it in the one place that Sabatini was standing.
I couldn't agree with you more that Steffi really played a bad point, because that was a serve that, watching the TV monitor, could not have gone over 60 miles an hour. Gabriela even bothered to come into net behind it and hit a weak volley. Steffi completely predictable. Gabby making the block put away. Fred, Steffi's forehand. Is it as good a shot as it was?
Time.
It's not as accurate as it was. It doesn't penetrate quite as much as it did.
Is it predictable?
I think so, yes.
Well, I don't know about you, Christine, but I would disagree with those two. I think all that's missing from Steffi's game from when she won her first Wimbledon title is simply the zest and the vigour of her game. She's not playing with the same kind of amazing confidence that she used to play with. Otherwise, the stroke looks pretty much the same to me.
The sparkle has gone.
And just as she is about to serve, just as she is about to serve, the automatic linesman decides to bleep. I'm not quite sure whether he's an Argentinian or not, but it put Steffi off. She was right in the middle of her throw up. Now she goes again. That's the serve, and this time the bleeper does signify that her first serve was a fault, just beyond the service line. And Sabatini creeping in now, 3-2 ahead, just creeping inside the baseline for the second service. Graf serve. Sabatini comes in on a backhand slice, and Graf puts her topspin backhand into the net, and that was a tentative sort of stroke from Graf, wasn't it?
Well, it's the tip and charge that we've heard so much about that Gabriela beats Steffi with every time.
Of 15. Graf serves to the backhand, just too long. And you can tell now with the atmosphere around this court is so quiet now that this crowd absolutely into this match as Graf serves as a high kicker, and it was too short, and Sabatini really could do much as she wanted with that, and she played her forehand into the forehand corner. And Christine, there isn't a better place to be, is there, than a centre court when there's a final is as evenly balanced as this one.
No, it's really building up. The tennis has improved, and it really couldn't be closer. The crowd couldn't enjoy it more.
Marvellous match. Love 30 though. Graf in the spot of trouble here in the second set as she runs around the backhand, plays a forehand into the backhand corner. Slice return from Sabatini with a lot of air. Falls just inside the backhand corner of Graf. She runs round and plays a forehand loosely out into the sidelines. And I think
that was a really bad error, in my opinion, from Steffi, mentally and physically.
We'll just watch Graf serving down the centre into the wrong court with her first serve, just the wrong side of the centre line. As Sabatini advances up the court, so Graf serves loose. Sabatini comes in on a forehand. Graf goes cross-court, out!
Game is
Another
Sabatini, ball change,
cross-court.
please.
And suddenly I get the impression that Graf has slightly lost confidence here, Christine.
She certainly lost her timing a little bit, Tony.
Miss Sabatini leads 4-2, second set.
I don't know why she should panic when Gabriela's coming into net like this, because she has the ground strokes to deal with it. But somehow it's just thrown her timing and her concentration slightly. And had she lost that second game of 40-love, when she was 40-love down, she would now be 5-1 down.
So here's Gabriela Sabatini then serving from the royal box end, just a foot out from the centre line, leading 4-2, serves. Good full-length serve, got back high and out by Steffi Graf, who is going to come to the
trying to find the right racket.
And I don't know how many rackets she's tried now. I think this is about the third.
And you know, I think that's a sign of tension. It's sort of like somebody fidgeting with their collar or scratching their head. She's changing her racket.
Refuses to believe it could be her concentration versus the strings.
Sabatini, 15-love serves, right on the service line. Now a backhand slice down the centre of the court with no pace. Backhand slice from Graf, backhand slice from Sabatini, who comes to the net, puts pressure on Graf, gets to the ball. Graf goes cross-court. Sabatini this time is beaten, and the ball falls right in the angle of the baseline and the sideline, and Sabatini unsure about that. But she's going to accept the call. I think from where we were, Barbara, there wasn't much doubt about it, was there?
Oh, it was definitely in, but it was an awfully close shot. A shot that Steffi could have made easy work of putting meters inside the court. Landed just an inch inside the baseline.
I wonder if Steffi still got a fragile temperament, fragile mentally. Do you think that when really the going gets tough and she's on the verge of winning, she starts thinking of other things other than what she's about? She lobs now to the baseline, and it's just outside the baseline, just beyond the baseline by about 6 inches.
I don't think I agree with that. I think that there are a couple of technical things that Steffi has not continued to improve, and other players have learned to attack. The only constant is change in this life.
Twice in this second set, though, she's gone through periods where she has actually played a whole series of rather fragile, indifferent shots. Sabatini serves to the backhand. Graf comes in. No, she's going to stay back on that backhand slice. Now she gets ready, launches into this forehand, into the forehand corner. Sabatini with interest gets it back on the forehand. Graf with a forehand just falls just inside the baseline. Now a forehand down the line, from down the centre of the court from Sabatini. And this time Graf moves in, takes the ball early, and pops the ball into the backhand corner for a winner. Good play by Graf that time.
30-all.
She played that rally a little better, didn't she? More controlled.
A killing rally for Gabriela there. She really was running and under pressure.
If Gabby hits that backhand topspin, it's going to sit up. Steffi's going to take control with her forehand. She's got to keep that slice low, neutralize.
Sabatini then. 4-2, 30-all. Royal box end, serves to the down the centre. And
40-30.
A backhand slice from Graf that
came from her belly button and stayed there.
I used to play.
Straight into the bottom of the net, and she can't be very happy with that. She played too many more of those shots, and she really will feel the pressure. 40-30, this for a 5-2 lead then, and I can see a third set dawning here, just as it did when they first met on grass quite a few years ago. 1987, in fact, when Graf won 6-1 in the third. That, I think, the only time they've ever played on grass. Sabatini serves this good length serve. Very nearly put that backhand slice, did Graf, into the net, but it just got it up. Sabatini goes cross-court with a angle forehand volley, and Sabatini goes into a 3-game lead here in the second set, and Graf has it all to do now.
Miss Sabatini leads 5-2, second set. First set, Miss Graf.
What do you think is going on in Steffi Graf's mind at the moment, Fred?
I don't know. All I do know is that all Sabatini is doing is coming in, chipping and charging on nothing balls. There's no speed to them at all. They
but it
float.
Seems to be working, doesn't it?
Because Steffi is not able to make her own speed off those.
That's right, and, but I think it's because they're low on the ground.
Well, they're low on the ground too, but they say, you know, this serve and volley thing, she comes in behind floaters, sort of lollipops, you know. They take 3 days to get to where they're going, and she's got time to get in, and then people haven't got anything to hit. But I've seen this pattern before.
I think that's what's deceptive, Fred, because from the reports coming back, one read of Gabriela Sabatini being the new serve volleyer, and in fact, it's not in the way that we think of, in a Martina Navratilova way.
She doesn't have a good enough serve.
No. It's a more of a delicate, fragile way almost, that Steffi seems to be absolutely fooled by.
Beppe Merlo.
Yes.
She has to work her way in and use her backhand slice to good effect, but boy, what a stretching forehand volley and a perfect angle play. McEnroe would have been proud.
Well, Steffi has had 1 or 2 lapses this year, particularly in the French semi-final when she lost, love and 2 to Sanchez Vicario, when everybody was tipping her probably to win the title, or at least to get to the final, and she didn't.
15-love.
And I don't know that she was all that happy with the way she played in her semi-final here this week. So there have to be doubts about Steffi Graf's confidence in her own ability out here.
Well, where can you go when you won the Grand Slam and Olympic gold medal?
It's very true, isn't it? Very true. She seems to have won everything, and people expect her to go on winning even more.
I think you go forward in your own game. If you're not racing against anybody interesting, you make it interesting for yourself.
Well, she's now up against it. 2-5 down in the second set, but of course she has the first set already tucked up, 6-4. She's serving Royal Box end, serves wide to the forehand, got back high by Sabatini on the forehand,
30,
and then the dark-haired Argentinian puts a backhand slice into the net, but walks back fairly confidently with this swagger that she walks about with, this sort of John Wayne swagger. I always imagine John Wayne walking through those swing doors of a bar whenever I see Gabby walk. Now Graf drives this forehand into the backhand corner of Sabatini, who seems to be taking a bit of a breather down there. I don't know. She didn't seem to attempt to chase that.
Well, that's predictable, but it's too darn good for any female living.
40-15, Graf serves this for 3-5, and she puts her first serve into the net and calls immediately for another ball. Steffi Graf, the top seed here, number 2 in the world, and she
47.
serves a double fault and turns and looks away, disgusted with herself that she should serve a double fault at this stage.
Will she recover mentally for this next one? Because Gabby will pressure the second serve again.
40-30. Graf serves left-hand court.
First service.
Net cord. Looks a little weary almost as Steffi, as she turned to collect another ball from the ball boy. As she serves now down the centre, chipped back by Sabatini, and then Graf launches into a forehand topspin and hits it out over the baseline and says something to herself.
There must be an easier way to spend a Saturday afternoon, I would think.
It's very nervy, isn't it? I mean, here she is at, what was it, 40-15 with a great chance of 3-5, and now she's up against it as Graf serves down the centre into the net. Can't seem to get the first serve going, and inhales deeply there as she saw that ball hit the top of the net and come back her side. And this is an important second serve if she's going to stay in this second set. She serves now. Oh, 2 successive double faults.
Advantage with Sabatini.
All these mistakes are really coming from her mental approach. Her tennis hasn't really changed. It's just trying to sort of maintain that tremendous dedication.
So here is set point to Gabriela Sabatini as Graf serves left-hand court, serves down into the backhand corner, and then Sabatini plays a very loose backhand into the sidelines. We're seeing some great rallies, but some fairly ordinary tennis at times here.
Yes, it came up a little bit at the beginning of this second set, but otherwise it's settled to a very close encounter.
Graf, Royal Box end, Juice serves just too long, and she's having all sorts of problems, is Steffi Graf, with this serve of hers.
Well, she's flailing out of rhythm right from the very start.
Serves now. That sounded like a net cord, but it wasn't. And now it's Sabatini at the net. Graf goes cross court. Sabatini cuts it off. Graf hoists the lob. It's going to fall just out.
Advantage with Sabatini.
And how this match has seesawed. I remember about 4 or 5 games ago saying to you that Graf seemed to have her whole game together and looked to be well on her way to a 3rd Wimbledon title, and now she really is up against it in this second set. It's advantage to Sabatini, forced a set point, and Sabatini puts a very good serve from Graf, which was right down the centre. She puts her slice forehand into the net.
That's it. Steffi does not want to play the ball like she used to want to play it.
So it's deuce again. 2 set points squandered by Gabriela Sabatini, the number 2 seed. 21 years of age, from Buenos Aires, and now I think lives in Florida as well, as Graf serves, chipped back by Sabatini, who comes to the net, but Graf has at least half the court to aim at and pops it into the backhand corner for a winner.
Advantage with Graf.
Now then, here's a big point for Steffi to just cling on in this second set. 5-2 down, remember? And the sun's still shining down. The temperature's high out there on centre court. Now Graf goes into the backhand corner, comes to the net. A lob from Sabatini. This should be easy for Graf.
Game
and she, well, it can't have been
more than a half an inch off from the baseline.
It was so close, that, wasn't it? Almost, if it wasn't on the line, it was just
Sabatini
inside.
leads 5-3, second set.
And I don't know what her father thought of that. So now just have a look and see. Oh, he's just looking up into the sky.
And well, he should.
That was too close for comfort, wasn't it?
For me.
So here's Gabriela Sabatini, who's had 2 set points on that last Graf serve, now serving to take the set. She plays a forehand down the line, half court. Graf goes cross court. Sabatini puts a backhand
Love 15.
volley into the net.
One's got to remember, actually, she was given 2 set points, Tony, wasn't she, by
Yes,
Steffi
indeed she
Graf's erratic play?
I don't think I've ever seen a more seesaw sort of final. It's impossible to predict this match, isn't it?
If Gabby
Because
wants it, she better show it now.
They're both playing erratic tennis, really. Sabatini serves into the backhand. Steffi runs round that backhand and blows a forehand out over the baseline. We've seen great moments of good tennis and fairly low moments of very ordinary tennis and unmemorable in that sort of final. An hour and 10 minutes they've been on court. I'm sure a lot of it has to do with knowing each other's game so well, but didn't seem to worry ever to Navratilova. They played some marvellous matches. Sabatini has just fallen, and she takes a little bit of time getting back. She was going for a forehand, got the ball back, but then slipped and opened up the court for Steffi Graf to put her forehand into the backhand corner for a winner. Sabatini, I think, is okay. She's taking her time as she should, just to compose herself after half falling on the very polished court at the far end. Serving at 15:30, Sabatini serves now to the backhand. Gabriela Graf runs around the backhand, plays a forehand, now has to hurtle across the baseline to get a forehand back, but she can't keep it into court. She puts it out over the baseline.
30 all.
30 all.
It's that blistering backhand down the line drive that really tests Steffi's racket work on the run. Steffi's almost always at every ball on the forehand, but I sometimes think her racket preparation is behind her.
Graf blows on her racket hand as she receives serve again, now slices that backhand half court. In comes Sabatini on a forehand slice. Back she goes for this lob and smashes the ball away for the winner.
And that is Sabatini's only backhand, I think, Barbara, would you say, down the line?
Yes, I think if she's going to go cross-court, it has to be that slice on this fast court. On clay, it's a different story.
Set point number 3 then for Gabriela Sabatini to level at 1 set all, and are we in for a great third set? She serves down the centre, got back down the centre by Graf. Backhand slice by Graf into the net.
Second set, Miss Sabatini.
It's 1 set all.
6 games to 3.
Gabriela Sabatini is back in the match.
Which prompts the fact of the West Indies gaining.
1 set all.
Just the confirmation there from the umpire on this table. Are the West Indies really gaining ascendancy at Trent Bridge? John Agnew?
Yes, they are. They're now 357 for 7. A very annoying stand this, as far as England are concerned, between Ambrose and Marshall. They came together at 324. Marshall has 47, has played extremely well. Ambrose is on 17 not out. An annoying innings, really, from England's point of view for a number 9 to be scoring these runs. A loud appeal there from Derek Pringle, though, but it's been given not out by Mervyn Kitchen. The interesting thing today is, in fact, that David Lawrence, who is England's spearhead after all, has bowled only 3 overs. And that was 2 overs with the old ball and 1 with the new. But I'm afraid when you look up at his figures, 2 for 108 they are now from 20 overs. He's certainly going to be disappointed with that. We've seen Richard Illingworth maintaining his approach of left arm over the wicket, very negative bowling. And really, England do need to get through this West Indies tail as soon as they can. 358 for 7, the lead 58.
Now, Frew, as we go into the third set, where's the balance of power now?
Well, I think really the Sabatini fragrance remains, and I'd really like to see the bride come back and visit us again. That is the ex-champion Steffi Graf, but I think the darts remain in her mind, and this has been her problem over the last few years, whether she can win at this level with this intensity against Sabatini, who's beaten her so many times.
So you're thinking that Sabatini's going to win this? She's not going to run away with it, though, is she?
No, I don't think so. I think, as you were saying, it's going to be a close encounter of the third set kind.
You did pay me for that line. Okay, we're now back with David Mercer.
Thank you very much. We're all hoping it will be indeed a close encounter of the third set kind, as Sabatini again charging forward. And Graf trying to roll the backhand, puts it into the net. And just picking up what we were discussing, as Christine was saying, Steffi has lost the aura of invincibility, but her game has stood still, and the other girls on the tour now know how to get at her, and that involves coming in and forcing her to play those backhand passes, and she just doesn't make them. She hasn't improved her own backhand enough, and the other girls have caught up and passed her.
I believe it, and on the second serve.
And again, Sabatini chipping and charging, and plays a forehand volley deep to the baseline. Oh, it's just too deep. And Graf anyway made a good pass.
15 all.
Not to mention the volley.
That's right. Steffi And understandably, particularly with all the problems, as we've been referring to, that she had last year, just hasn't been able to build on the wonderful game that she had. But she gets a good first serve in. And no one should ever write off Fraulein Graf, because she's a gritty little fighter. She has to have been to have survived what she has been put through in the last year. And she leads 30-15. Roller end serves. A forehand slice return from Sabatini. A forehand now from Graf into the forehand wing of Sabatini, who goes down the centre. Graf, a forehand into the backhand wing of Sabatini. Graf is stealing into the net. That's positive from Graf. Sabatini almost gets it up, but can't.
40-15.
Fred, can Graf grit this one out?
I think she's going to have to somewhere along the line decide that she can hit passing shots at three-quarter speed rather than full speed.
That's right. Her tendency is to thwack it as hard as she can, as there Sabatini thwacks a backhand and now plays a little forehand sliced approach into that backhand corner of Graf, who's forced to lob on the slice, and she swipes the ground in disgust, and the lob is too short.
40-30.
And the smash is too good. Christine.
A beautiful smash by Gabriela Sabatini there, David, or perhaps a lob that was almost too good, and somehow she found a little bit of extra height or elevation.
Arm of the law.
Was able to really smack it away.
Whoops, Graf flailing about as Barbara was describing on the serve, got totally out of sync, and again, she can't get the ball up.
Something's bothering her.
Yeah, something's happening. She eventually gets a good first serve in, and Sabatini just gets it back. Graf doesn't put it away, and she's forced to turn for the lob, which is just over the baseline. Well, what an extraordinary point. And Steffi has got one hand on her head and is giving herself a Boris Becker telling off.
Well, she wants this very, very badly. I think that she plumbed the depths of her competitive effort in the French Open semi-final against Arantxa Sanchez Vicario. And I think we see a much more eager, anxious player out there now to come back. I think she's on the upswing again, competitively speaking.
Yes, she's getting stronger mentally.
Well, not so much stronger. She's hungrier. I think she's forgotten how to win, but that she's actually hungry again to try.
Fred,
I think if she wins this one, you could say Steffi Graf will continue. If she doesn't win this one, I think it's going to be a long summer and winter before she wins another major.
No, that's not quite right, Fred. Mr. Graf. Have you heard what Mr. Graf says?
What's that?
She's playing for 5 more years.
I didn't say that. I said it'll be a long summer and winter before she wins another major.
No, he said that she will be playing for 5 more years, and I thought that was quite strange to say that when your daughter's 22.
Well, if I can interject, I think Steffi Graf would be a lot better off without Daddy's advice. But that is an entirely personal opinion.
So I wonder, whether Steffi had been asked whether she wants to play another 5 years.
Yes, right.
That's right. The West Indies are 358 for 8, so their lead is now up to 58. But Curtly Ambrose has lost his wicket, and Steffi Graf has lost the opening game of this opening point, I should say, of this next game. Sabatini serving at the roller end. Still this wonderful, glorious sunshine and temperatures on court up in the 90s. A forehand return from Graf is just over the baseline. And again, it's this urge to win the points too soon, I feel.
She just doesn't enjoy hitting the ball the way she used to. And I have a point to make about her progress versus Mr. Rod Laver.
She, I feel, needs to work a bit harder and a bit longer and work out the rallies a bit more. Sabatini, a forehand cross-court, now Graf. As Sabatini again slips and falls, and Graf pops away the forehand into a totally vacant court.
To no joy, no personal joy out of that great winner down the line from Steffi. I think if you're not growing, you're not only standing still, you're falling behind, and I think it would really rejuvenate Steffi's attitude to take up a page from Rod Laver's book and continually work to make her game grow.
Sure, that's right. Sabatini serves a backhand slice return from Graf. A backhand slice from Sabatini, who comes in behind it, and Graf
40-15.
Drawn wide on the forehand because she's automatically tending to come over to the backhand side to run round her backhand and play the forehand, pops the forehand into the net.
Could I just say, David, I think her game's all there. I think if she could take a pill to sort herself out within herself, everything else would fall into place.
I know exactly what you mean, Christine. A forehand cross-court winner this time from Graf. And that time, the angle was right, and she didn't thump the ball. She played it, not gently, that would be the wrong word, but maybe sort of 7/8 pace, but with a nice angled winner.
Yes, of course. Angles are always the most important thing in any tennis match.
Sabatini, 40-30, serves a forehand down the line now from Graf, who comes in and plays another forehand and whips it up into the backhand corner, plays a little backhand volley into the forehand corner, and that's too good.
Juice.
And if one thinks back to the opening 2 service games of Gabriela Sabatini in the second set, she was 40-15 up in the first one, lost it. 40-love up in the second one, lost it. Now she's juice from 40-15. Sabatini serves, and that one's way too long.
So far, it's been a rock meeting a soft place. What can Gabriela do now?
She serves again. A forehand cross-court from Graf. Sabatini doing well to get it up on the stretch. Graf comes in behind a backhand approach, and Sabatini at full stretch nets on the backhand.
Advantage, Miss Graf.
Attacking with the conviction she had in the first set?
Yes.
Turned again.
It has been, although it's the quality of the match has ebbed and flowed, the fact that the fortunes have also ebbed and flowed has really made it absorbing. Commands our attention. We can't relax for a moment, as neither can they, and Sabatini now will come in behind a backhand. Sliced approach, but she snatches it and dumps it in the bottom of the net, and Steffi, down beneath us, has the broadest grin on her face that I've ever seen in a singles match. The sort of grin when Henri Leconte had made an exaggerated error, and it was when her opponent made an exaggerated error.
Yes, for God's sakes, Gabby, I'm playing like a piece of junk. Now, if you would just insist on giving this match to me, I'm going to take it right now.
Can she build on the 2-love lead? Graf, a good first serve. Sabatini just gets it up on the stretch. Graf is in the net. Oh, my word.
Love 15.
Oh, let it bounce. It was up to shoulder height.
Well, it was on the bounce, but it was casual.
Yeah.
But it was really casual.
No, I said it. She let it bounce.
Right.
Up to the shoulder high. Easy put away on the forehand and whack wide. Extraordinary miss. Good first serve this time. She runs round that backhand, plays a tucked up forehand. Gabriela drives her into the forehand corner and comes in and plays a forehand volley behind it. And Graf nets on the backhand.
Love 30.
And when she changed, when the ball boys didn't have the balls ready for this game to start, Steffi was absolutely galloping around, looking for them, was always up to the net post to actually get them from the ball boy.
I just wonder how expensive that easy miss on the first point could be. It's suddenly thrown the momentum of the match back in Sabatini.
15-30.
As Graf shapes up to play a forehand off the return of serve and doesn't have to, as it just goes beyond the baseline. And now Gabriela Sabatini is just delaying the play, and I think that might actually do Steffi some good, and the crowd getting involved as well. Jane Tabor just asking people to settle down, and I think if Steffi could actually build and use that little break and breather, might do her some good. She serves now, too long. Turns. Settles again. She's, at least a yard out from the centre mark. Opening up the angle on this second serve. A forehand return from Sabatini, who comes in behind it. Graf whips the forehand cross-court. But there is Sabatini, had anticipated it, and is there to put away the forehand volley.
Beautiful volley.
15-40.
But you see, Christine, that's how the girls have learned how to play, Steffi, isn't it?
Yeah.
Snuffing out the very sparkle we've seen at the beginning of this game from Steffi.
2 points for the break back for Sabatini. Graf serves. She was twice a break up in the second set, having won the first. And it looks as if she's going to squander the early break of serve again in this third set. She serves now. A backhand slice return from Sabatini, who comes in behind it, plays a backhand volley. A forehand now from Graf, hits the top of the net, and that takes it out.
Sabatini.
And the big grin has gone from the face of Steffi Graf. And it's replaced by a frown.
Miss Graf leads 2-1, final set.
Fred.
I've seen it all before.
So then you ask, well, why don't the girls change? Perhaps Steffi could learn to serve and volley once a game. We're not asking for a Martina in her. But with that super high service toss, it makes it a difficult proposition.
And we were talking about maybe, not hit it full speed all the time, 3/4 speed, and she'd probably have a better chance to win the point and keep the ball in the court. But that first point, she could have blown it over anywhere in the court. And she takes an almighty smack at it right where Sabatini's standing.
And from her own most difficult point with that ball, as you said, over her shoulder level.
And it sort of reminded me of the Stefan Edberg overhead that he missed at set point down in the third set yesterday against Stieg. As he said, he took a wild swipe at it and forgot the absolute basic law, which is keep your eye on the ball. Christine.
Yes, it's always puzzling to see a champion after they've been at their best, because they're all different, and I feel that Steffi perhaps wasn't the greatest all-round champion as a player, and whereas Martina's always been able to sort of keep a few easy shots up her sleeve with her aces and volleys, Steffi's had to work hard at her game, and therefore she hasn't any easy way of making some quick shots. Quick winners, I should say.
Sabatini serves and plays a forehand in the backhand corner of Graf, who slices across court. Sabatini drives cross court, and Graf plays a defensive slice, and Sabatini, a little too anxious to get in on the net, rushes the approach and puts it into the net.
Her feet looked stuck in cement on that one.
Incidentally, if you're worried about the quality of Fred's voice, don't worry about it. He's absolutely fine. His microphone is giving out on him. Sabatini serves. A backhand slice return from Graf, drifts aimlessly and harmlessly over the baseline underneath us.
That's a very basic unforced error there by Steffi. It was a plain serve down the middle, bounced up, and Steffi just hit it out. Something she never used to do.
Sabatini, first serve into the net.
Yes.
Second serve continues to be faster than her first serve. And there is the second serve. A forehand return from Graf, a forehand from Sabatini deep to the baseline. Graf a forehand into the backhand wing of Sabatini, who slices down the centre with no pace. Graf slices to the forehand wing, and Sabatini gets a little bit too much topspin. And there, Steffi stayed in the rally, didn't have this feeling of, I've got to win it quick. She stayed with her, and the error came from her opponent.
Yeah, one wonders where the purpose is on Steffi sometimes in this match.
But she's never been a defensive player.
No, that's very fair comment, Christine. A forehand now from Graf into the backhand wing of Sabatini, who slices cross-court. Graf runs round, plays the forehand, gets the net cord. Graf plays now a sliced backhand cross-court. Here comes Sabatini coming in on the chip and charge. Plays a low forehand volley. Graf drives the backhand. It's there, the forehand volley from Sabatini. And Graf going down the line, tries to drive the backhand, but half chokes on the shot, and it's into the net.
30 all.
It's this backhand topspin drive. It's been driven into the ground so many times before. This is the place to play. Steffi's backhand pass down the middle, jamming the body, forcing her to hit a down the line pass. But there we saw Gabriela run 30 yards to the first volley because she knew where it was going.
Yeah. They've sat down, they've studied, and they've worked out where the Graf shots are going to go. Sabatini at 30 all, a forehand cross-court from Graf, a forehand from Sabatini, that's short. Graf comes in behind, a slice backhand approach, plays a high backhand volley, it's not conclusive, it's half hit. Sabatini is there, she's onto it, and she drifts a little forehand into the open section of the court, and now it's Sabatini clenching the fist.
A very lovely lob there by Gabriela. Had a lot of top on, and although Steffi gave an almighty leap, she could only just catch it, and really hadn't a chance for the next shot.
They mended your mic, Fred?
I think so.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Fred, you're sitting up alert as all get out.
Can't believe some of this.
Sabatini serves a backhand. Oh, Graf trying to drive a backhand return.
Sabatini.
Gets it right on the edge of the frame, and Sabatini has levelled at 2 all, at 1 set all.
2 games all, final set.
How many leads do you need?
That's it. But when you've lost the habit of winning the big matches, Fred...
Habit of even watching the ball on that last point.
There's a knack of winning and a knack of losing. It's a horrible feeling to feel that you can't actually win a match.
Thank you, ladies and
used
gentlemen.
to.
Quiet, please.
Well, as this match moves into a crucial phase, it's inevitable that the crowd are going to get really involved now behind their particular favourite. There's no underdog now. 1 hour, 29 minutes. 1 set all, 2 games all. A sliced forehand return, and there's Graf on the backhand. Sabatini cuts off at the net. She has a little stop volley now and wins the point. And Sabatini is pressing ever forward.
Love 15.
Not bad from Steffi. I thought she kept the backhand pass pretty low, down the middle, but Gabby coming up with the superior product.
Can't really hit that one cross-court, though, can she?
No.
Can't
No.
at least sow the seeds of doubt in the opponent as to where the ball is going to go.
Exactly.
Graf serves. A backhand return from Sabatini, who drives through that one. A backhand slice from Graf. A backhand drive from Sabatini. A forehand from Graf is over baseline.
Love 30.
And just when we thought that maybe Graf had got a grip back on the match, it's slipping away from her again, Fred.
Well, it always does, doesn't it? I mean, she's had leads so many times, and then 6 or 7 bad shots in a row.
It's when your best shot becomes erratic.
Well,
It's a ghastly
there's a
feeling.
sliced backhand now, and a sliced backhand from Sabatini, a sliced backhand from Graf, who comes in behind it, and it's a lovely depth, that one.
15, 30.
It is right onto the baseline, down beneath us, and Sabatini trying to wind up the topspin pass is really taken by surprise by the depth.
It's got to be an act of faith, because I don't see Steffi having the conviction point in and point out, so she simply has to pretend she believes in coming to net.
Goes for the big first serve and just misses it. Wide to the backhand. Of course, both these ladies right-handers. Graf just the taller, as Tony Adamson was saying in that second set. A sliced forehand return from Sabatini and Graf. Oh, Sabatini
30 all.
has the chance. Shoulder-high backhand volley. She was stretching.
She read it right and then missed it.
Yes. Sabatini had guessed that Graf was going to try and play that in-to-out forehand, run round the backhand, play the forehand, past the backhand wing.
It's about time to come to net and finish it off.
Fred.
I think I'm inclined to agree with that. But the thing is, that, you know, you've heard these stories of coming in. We know that Sabatini very seldom comes in on a fast shot. It's always a lollipop anyway, you see. And you're really coming in on a wing and a prayer. But I think Sabatini is coming in without the prayers. She's just coming in.
Well, I think she actually is doing a little better than that on some approach shots, Fred, because I think she gets it quickly low to that jamming forehand or backhand body of Steffi on the baseline here. And you are not happy with the way Steffi's passing on that, and I agree with you. But is it not a pretty decent slice approach shot?
Oh, it's a very good approach shot. But you know, most people come in on speed.
Yeah.
But she comes in on you know, sort of nothing shots. I think it's to give her time to get in, actually.
Yep.
Let me pose a question to our panel after this next point, which I'll get their reaction to in a moment, as to what Steffi might do. It's Sabatini, though, who's serving 2-3 down, having had a point to lead 3-2 in this final set. Both ladies are on the baseline, and they're both trading forehands. Now Graf plays a backhand slice into the backhand corner. It gets a backhand slice back. Now she slides a backhand slice down the line, does Graf. A forehand now to the backhand corner. And there again, if Graf had come in behind it, she would have had an easy one. She comes in behind the next one. She has a smash to put away. She turns, lets it bounce. It's a good lob, in fact, from Sabatini, who's now coming to the net herself. But he's passed by Graf. So that's a good rally. Oh, she had to work for that one.
Love 15.
I think that's a clear example of what Frew McMillan said before the match. There's nobody who can beat Steffi if she's in a high gear. Steffi's making a lot of work for herself out here today.
The question I want to pose, and get an answer from you in a moment, if your opponent is coming into your backhand and you can't hit a passing shot, why don't you toss up the lob, defensive lob, and just push her back all the time?
In fact, she used to have a wonderful backhand lob, quick lift.
Well, now a forehand from Graf, another forehand from Graf, and I think she's got that one wrong. She has. It's over the far baseline. Christine?
Well, I'd just like to make a point that I think if Steffi wins or loses this match, I think she ought to take a break for a while. I think perhaps she's had enough tennis to my mind.
She'll be back here in Britain in 2 weeks' time. Christine, you and I will be watching her in the Fed Cup, the Federation Cup at Nottingham.
Well, perhaps after that.
All right. We don't want to lose her from that.
30-15.
Gabriela Sabatini won't be there, and I doubt if Monica Seles is going to be there now with her.
I think she's had tennis up to the eyeballs.
Kazoo. Well, I also think she's been working with the same man for 4 hours every day on the practice court for the last 5 years, and that's got to get a little monotonous, if nothing else.
That's Pavel Slosel, of course, a coach who's there with the Graf family in the competitors' stand. A backhand sliced return now from Graf, a forehand from Sabatini into that backhand wing is just over the sidelines. And again, you know, it's so on a knife edge, isn't it? I mean, we're whispering because the tension out there, you could cut it literally with the knife.
I'll tell you one thing for sure. Sabatini and her camp have done their homework.
Oh, yes.
On this girl particularly. Maybe not on anybody else, but on Steffi Graf, they've done it.
In fact, Monica's been the one troubling Gabby this year precisely for that reason, Fred.
30 all. Second serve. Roller end. Sabatini. Wide to the forehand of Graf, who thunders one across court. Sabatini gets it up on the slice. Graf has missed the backhand slice. And it was a great forehand cross court, but Gabby was waiting for it.
40-30.
Yes, she stuck out an arm just knowing where it was coming well enough. But what heavy hands on that backhand slice approach shot from Steffi. I think someone like Ken Rosewall or anybody with a good backhand slice could help Steffi.
That's no disrespect to Pavel Slosel, but I think Barbara has a point. You can get so used to one man. Here's a forehand whipped up by Graf.
Game is Sabatini.
Over the far baseline.
Ball change, please. Three games all, final set.
There's a lot to be said about having a new environment in which you feel you're growing as a player and moving ahead. And there's just so much that Steffi could do to interest herself in a technical way.
I don't believe actually she can. Sorry to say, I think that she's done so well. Her career started when she was very young. I think you have a limited span. I think she's achieved everything. I think she's got to enjoy it.
Well, she's enjoying playing a backhand volley. She has an easy smash to put away, and she smashes that away with some relish.
15 love.
Yeah, I just think maybe she needs something else in her life.
Enjoy her life, enjoy everything, and enjoy tennis.
Right.
Maybe.
That's tough to do, though, if you're used to winning and you're not progressing forward and everybody's learning about your game.
Graf serves now. Backhand return from Sabatini. A forehand from Graf. Wide to the forehand corner. And that's a good one.
Not at full speed.
That's right, Fred. A little bit of control on the shot.
That's right.
Not everybody, but just Gabriela really is the one that's learned about Steffi's game above all else.
But a lot of the talk in the locker room, Barbara, is that they no longer fear Steffi, and I know they come in the press conferences and say they no longer fear her. As she plays the forehand, a terrible drop volley there from Sabatini. Graf is onto it, and Sabatini finds it hitting the small of her back, not deliberately. Gabby was expecting the cross-court shot, and Steffi, quite wisely in those situations, went straight down the centre.
She caught Gabriela on the left gluteus maximus.
She did a Michael Stick, hit your opponent, and he said he...
Yeah, it's a quite legitimate tactic. Graf then, a 40 love at 3 all, at 1 set all, after an hour and 40 minutes. Again, can Graf build on this and break away? A forehand slice from Sabatini presents her with the game.
Miss Graf leads 4-3, final set.
Chris, she's enjoying it today. She's 4-3 up in the third set, and as much as I have problems with the way she's managed her tennis in the last 12 months, she just may well break to win this match.
Well, I think she'll enjoy it more if she wins. I wouldn't say that she looks as though she's enjoying the challenge anymore, to me. I'm just, as a pure spectator, if I came to Wimbledon today as a spectator, I would think she looks over-tense, overwrought, and she's trying to find her form. It's all there, but it's hard to get it out.
Yeah, I think that's right. It's the same old 6 and 7, day after day, week after week, month after month. But the thing I do not understand is why Steffi, and I never have, hits everything on the forehand as hard as she can, whether she's on the baseline or 2 feet from the net. And I'm quite sure that if she took the pace off a lot of her shots, it would not only give the opponent something to think about, would give her more chance of not making an error.
Absolutely. She used to be more accommodating with her pace.
They've had their 90 seconds at the chair. Gabriela Sabatini is down in front of the very royal box this afternoon. Serving 3-4 down, final set, forehand return from Graf, a forehand from Sabatini, a slice backhand from Graf, keeps very low, and Sabatini just gets it over the net. Graf comes in behind a backhand approach, which is inches over the baseline.
Close, baby. Chris, was that good in your line of vision?
It was.
Do you notice that when Steffi comes in on a backhand, she comes in like an express train?
Yes, it's awfully fast charging at the ball, and the racket too.
Sabatini serves. A backhand slice from Graf. A backhand slice from Sabatini. Cross court. A bit deeper this time. And a backhand slice from Graf a bit deeper. Another backhand slice from Sabatini. A backhand slice from Graf. A forehand from Sabatini. Ooh, that was a tense and nervy one. My word.
First Wimbledon final forehand.
Yes, hey, I'm in the Wimbledon final and I'm 3-4 down and I'm serving in the final set.
She who hesitates is lost.
Well, we had Steffi Graf, as Tony was mentioning behind us, almost with the twitches over a putt when she couldn't throw the ball up to serve. And that was a really nervy one from Sabatini. Next rally is on. Both ladies are on the baseline. There's a forehand into the forehand wing. Sabatini is now forced to play a little half volley, and Graf is there to cut it off. And is that in? It's in. Going cross court.
.15.30. Well, that's the old Graf foot speed.
Yeah, big point.
Oh.
I'm perspiring.
Yes. And almost a remaking of Steffi Graf for the first time I've ever seen ask her opponent to wait. Actually put the hand up. Yeah. Normally Steffi is so eager to get on with it. And I think that might be a good sign from Steffi. She's trying to compose herself. She plays a backhand slice return. She plays another backhand, and Gabriela Sabatini is forced to play a low forehand volley, but she gets a high forehand volley and puts that away.
I must say, just simply charging to intercept that second ball was really an act of faith, and Gabriela made the most of that low volley to set up the final put away.
30 all. She serves now. Backhand slice return from Graf to the forehand of Sabatini, who comes in behind in approach. She plays a little backhand volley. Graf scampers across, goes cross court and net. And if everyone was crying out for a lob when you're retreating and playing a shot off balance, and your opponent is right on top of the net, get back in the rally.
Yes, Roy Emerson used to call those hero shots. You want to be a bloody hero.
Sabatini a point level at 4 all in the final set. She serves. A backhand slice from Graf, a backhand slice from Sabatini, who comes in behind it, and there's Graf netting the backhand pass down the line.
Four games all, final set.
Now, it's hot out there.
It's hot in here.
Yeah, they've been on court for an hour and 45 minutes. Is stamina going to play a part now at 4 all final set?
Not in my opinion.
Christine?
I think they're both very fit. It really is,
ladies and gentlemen,
a great moment now in the Wimbledon final to be 4 all in the final set.
So if it's not stamina, it's in the mind. Whose mind is stronger? Graf a forehand thumps that away.
15 love.
No need to thump.
No.
So near and yet so far for both girls.
You dream of this moment. 4 all final set, Wimbledon final. Millions and millions dream of it and never get anywhere close to it. And these two girls are experiencing it.
They're going to go over and over it.
And we are lucky just to be observers. Graf serves. A sliced forehand return from Sabatini. Comes in behind it. Graf is there, but so is Sabatini with the backhand. She read the way Graf is going down the line. And that
15 all.
That really was a wing and a prayer approach.
It was, but there was only one reply to that, and that's hit it right straight through Gabriela's right hip.
Well, she always runs around her backhand and hits the forehand, usually inside to outside, as they say, to the backhand line, and Gabriela was standing there almost waiting for it.
4 all, 15 all. Good first serve, and it creeps over the net from Sabatini on the return. It crept over the net, brushed over it, but Graf was there to pick it up. And
I think she thought it was a fault, David.
Did she? Yeah. And Sabatini put a backhand into the net. Graf blows on her hands. I have to tell you that mine is sweating like anything from the tension of the occasion and the heat of the afternoon and the drama of the situation at 4 all final set of a Wimbledon final. Graf serves just too long.
It's a fast serve. Gabriela has really got to explode out of the mark to get to that.
Second serve from Graf, 30-15, roller end. Is, a double fault.
That's you.
Oh, my word.
6?
Computer says 5, Fred, but I'm sure you're right.
I don't know.
That must have felt like 66.
Yes. But that's that constant pressure of
Yeah.
Gabriela all over you. Big, dark, long, and
Moving around like a yo-yo.
coming in.
1 set all, 4 games all, and 30 all. Graf serves, backhand return from Sabatini, a forehand from Graf. Down the centre, Sabatini drives her into the backhand corner. Graf slices across court. Now here comes Sabatini, a forehand from Graf. She's missed it. It's way out over the baseline.
30-40.
She's making Steffi pass over the high part of the net. Why? Because coming in cross-court, Gabriela provides Steffi with the inverse forehand, but that's into Gabby's strength, the backhand volley. So what she's saying is, hit it to my weakness, but it's the highest part of the net.
And just to explain that, the net is 6 inches lower in the middle than it is at either side. Graf serves. Oh, she's just missed with what would have been a spectacular ace into the backhand corner. So it's a second serve at break point at 4 all. Gabriela Sabatini dancing up and down like a puppet on a string. And it's a double fault!
Game
It is a double fault. How many of those have we seen?
The tango on the back line there.
And Gabriela Sabatini moves ahead 5-4 final set with a break.
Sabatini leads 5-4, final set.
Well, Gabriela Sabatini there did really a tango on the back line while
Yeah.
Steffi
Yeah.
was trying to line up to serve.
Without music.
Without the music, or a lombardo. Perhaps she does the lombardo coming from Argentina. I think the South American dances are all much the same, but it certainly threw Steffi there.
I tell you, they'll be dancing in the streets tonight, won't they, in Buenos Aires, if she can win this next game. Barbara.
Well, it's not old world Hoyle to do that. But, of course, I would have thought Steffi could be mentally prepared for that, because I've seen Gabby do that for quite a few months now.
I see Peter Graf there with his head in his hands. A very sad-looking figure.
That's Steffi's father, of course. All right, Barbara, it's one thing to be serving for a Wimbledon title. It's another thing to win a Wimbledon title. Can she do it?
How do I explain feelings I'd love to have, but never have had the chance to have?
Fred?
I don't know. I've seen it so often, as I said before. I mean, she's been in the winning position in the second set, 2 breaks in serve and lost them both. And she had a break in serve this match and lost them both. 30-15 for a 5-4 lead and 2 double faults.
Thank you.
Gabriela Sabatini, about to serve the most important game of her life. Serving for her first Wimbledon title. A forehand return from Graf is over the sidelines.
15-love.
The accuracy so missing from Steffi's game when she needs it.
I bet Gaffy is saying, 3 more of those, please, Steffi. All I've got to do is put the serve in and you give me the point. 3 points away now. Sabatini. A forehand return from Graf. A backhand slice from Sabatini. Net. You can feel the nerves going through both.
Just quickly, Steffi, if she knows where she's aiming, she'll make that forehand because she's feeling bold. She feels like she has to go for it, but if she doesn't pick her spot, she's never going to get it there.
Sabatini then at 15 all. A forehand return from Graf into the forehand wing of Sabatini. Now a slice backhand cross court from Graf. A backhand slice from Sabatini. A backhand slice from Graf. A backhand slice from Sabatini. And this one, Graf runs round, plays a forehand, comes in behind it, plays a backhand volley into the backhand wing of Sabatini. And there's Graf at the net to put away the volley. And Barbara Potter is pumping air in the commentary box.
I just love it when these girls show courage, and that was an act of faith, yet again. Both girls really trying to bring their heart into this.
15-30 then. Can Graf break back? Can Sabatini hold on? She serves now. A backhand return from Graf. It should have been. She got very ticked up. She run on her forehand. She'll play another forehand down the line. Sabatini dives, gets the volley up, but it's out. Oh, Graf was lucky there. She made an awful hash of running around her backhand return.
15-40. Give them half the plate each, I think.
I'll tell you one thing, Christine, there's no tie breaks in this final set. What time's the programme going off the air tonight? 6 o'clock, may not have finished.
Half a plate.
Oh, no! Cyclops is anxious
Choking.
to get in on the act. Goes off bleep at 15:40. Oh, now that's unnecessary. Yes, quite.
Please, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Gabby needs a big first serve.
15-40, she serves now. Backhand return from Graf, a forehand from Sabatini into the backhand wing of Graf, who slices across court. Sabatini has stayed on the baseline this time and slices across court.
Game is
and out! And who knows? Has the Argentine chance come and gone? She was within 3 points of the title, but now it's
5 games all, final set.
Oh, to be honest, David, I think that Steffi can win it or give it to Gabby. I think it's all up to her.
Well, I would have liked to have seen Gabriela really go for her first serves in that last game, but she didn't, and therefore didn't deserve to win it.
Graf then, at 5-all, at the royal box end, serves. First one is into the net. Second one is right. A forehand sliced return from Gabriela, who's in at the net, plays a little stop volley. That's too good.
And Steffi there, showing her father that her service swing is not as she would like it.
Well, she better forget that and remember the beautiful touch. That ball not only dropped dead before the service line, but it left Steffi dead in her tracks.
Graf, 3-4 feet out from the centre mark, serves. A backhand return from Sabatini. A forehand now from Graf into the backhand wing. She comes in behind it. And there is Graf with a backhand volley. Doesn't put it away. Sabatini hoists the lob. It's going to be out. Barbara Potter is strangling herself, thinking that maybe Sabatini was choking there, Fred.
You know, spectators-wise, this is a good scrap. This is what makes Wimbledon what it is. Really.
Oh, absolutely. The tension and the drama of 5-all final set of a final. Couldn't ask for more than that. A forehand return from Sabatini. A backhand slice from Graf deep to the baseline at the far end. Another slice from Graf into the forehand wing. Sabatini goes cross-court on her forehand. Graf whips up a forehand very deep to the far baseline. Now she slices a backhand cross-court. So does Sabatini. Graf runs round, plays a forehand. Sabatini comes in behind the backhand slice. Graf, thinks about hosting a lob, makes a horrible hash of it. And Sabatini puts away a shoulder-high backhand volley.
Felt like stepping down on the court then and just helping Steffi with that backhand. It was so near our commentary box, and one could see she was going to not put it away. Not that I could have helped her much with the backhand, but I could
push that elbow up in the air. Push it up in the air.
Yes, I could see the problem coming.
But here you see it's Gabby who feels much more natural about coming to net. With Steffi, it definitely is something of a second thought.
15-30 then. Last 2 games have gone against the serve. Will this one? Graf will play a forehand now into the backhand corner of Sabatini, who slices. Now Graf will come in behind a forehand approach to the forehand corner. She plays a backhand volley, win up, and talks to herself, and urges herself on, and shakes the left hand.
30-all.
But Gabby doesn't come into net in the way that I imagined. She glides in more than the normal approach. It's almost, you hardly sort of realise she's come to the net.
That's right. She hasn't become a serve and volleyer. She's become an all-court player in that she does move in, but certainly not a serve and volleyer. Graf serves now. Backhand slice return from Sabatini. A forehand from Graf into the backhand wing of Sabatini, who slices across court. So does Graf on her backhand. Sabatini slices and comes in behind it. Graf runs round and plays a forehand, and it's beautifully judged by Sabatini because it falls, a fraction of an inch beyond the far baseline.
Good eyes. Good eyes. Lucky, huh?
When you miss by an inch, you're unlucky.
Right.
Miss by a mile, you're bad.
Best comment of the day.
It's a break point again for Sabatini to move ahead 6-5 in the final set. Graf serves. A forehand return from Sabatini. A forehand from Graf. A forehand from Sabatini down the centre. Graf a forehand into the backhand corner. She comes in behind it. She has a forehand volley. She nets it.
Game is Sabatini.
No.
Miss Sabatini leads 6-5, final set.
Barbara, you can comment on that volley.
Right. She wants, that is, Steffi wants to win this match very badly. She just
badly
has forgotten how.
Yes. That's what I have the feeling for Steffi all the time, that it's almost too intense.
Well, you know, you think of this sort of volleying business. I'm a great believer that you have to give yourself time to get to the net. So if you hit the heck out of the ball, the ball gets to where it's going before you get to where you want to be, so your opponent's in position.
That's right.
So if you give a slightly slower ball, you've got a chance to be where you want to be and balanced before they get to hit it. Maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm wrong, but...
Certainly, Steffi is well out of sync with her
Steffi's
own.
almost at the net. I mean, the ball is almost sort of a winner before she gets to the net.
That's right. That's right. Well, there's plenty of room for growth if Steffi is not too sick of the game.
Now, though, she has to concentrate on breaking serve for a second time to stay in the match. Sabatini serves, raw box end, 6-5 up, final set, and it's a net called overall there from Jane Table. There was no net called by the net court judge.
I just do not like that serve.
Can Sabatini succeed where she failed a couple of games ago and hold serve and win her first Wimbledon title? A forehand return from Graf off a woefully short serve.
Love 15.
You've got to admire Steffi's guts to keep going for it.
She knows that she has to.
And Sabatini's short serving is giving Heather a chance to attack. And she slices across court. Now Sabatini comes in behind a slice and Graf hoists the lob. And Sabatini does wonderfully well to play a backhand volley winner. Because I thought that was a good lob.
15-all.
It would have beaten most women. That was definitely the great Sabatini.
Once again, she is within 3 points of the title. At 15-all, at 6-5. Sabatini serves, a forehand return from Graf. Sabatini just gets it up, Graf's in at the net, and this time she takes a bit of time on that volley. It was almost as if she said to herself, just before she was about to hit it, take your time.
She does on the backhand.
But what a slow first serve.
Yes, it's not the kind of title-winning serve that she needs.
15-30. Will Graf break back? Are we to go for 6-all in the final set? A forehand from Graf net.
30-all.
Running round the backhand.
Putting a lot of faith in a spin bowl.
Sabatini is breathing really heavily, just trying to pump that oxygen into the lungs to slow the heart rate, to calm the nerve. 30-all. She serves now. It's a fault.
It's one thing to put in three-quarter pace first serves through the match as a solid plan of action, but when you've got to actually put your opponent out of pain.
Sabatini serves again. A forehand return from Graf. Sabatini just digs it out on the forehand. Graf a backhand slice across. Sabatini comes in behind a backhand approach. Graf whips the forehand cross court. Sabatini gets to it. Graf goes down the line. A wonderful volley from Sabatini. Graf gets it out. Oh, what a rally that was! I thought both players had won it twice. And Graf has won it.
She did, and I think that Gabriela Sabatini hit a ball that was going out. She was so sure that she could put it away from Steffi. An incredible rally.
Was it the high backhand volley of Gabby running out of court? Just seeing it on the monitor, Chris, it looks like it might have come inside the sideline.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Incredible rally, reminiscent of Martina and Chris finals.
Break back point. Extraordinary rally, that one. A forehand return from Graf. It's a winner. Graf has broken back again. It is 6-all in the final set after exactly 2 hours.
6 games all, final set.
Now, for obvious reasons, we won't be going live to the Coral Eclipse Stakes, but we will be recording it, and we will play it to you, and we will, of course, not tell you the result in advance of our recording, but you will understand, I'm sure, that at 6-all in the final set of a Wimbledon final, we are going to stay here with the tennis. As Graf serves, a backhand sliced return from Sabatini, another backhand sliced return from Sabatini. Graf runs round and hits the forehand very wide to the backhand, and Sabatini trying to go down the line, nets.
15 love.
Fred, what do you think about a chip in charge from Gabriela now?
Yeah, I have the impression that Sabatini is having trouble getting the racket above her head. I mean, I think she's so,
Tight.
Yeah.
She's tight as a tick.
Graf serves. Backhand return from Sabatini. Cross court is just out.
But Steffi played some superb forehands in that game to make it 6-all.
She certainly took full advantage of opportunities.
But if
that's the sort of tennis that when she plays, the girls cannot get the ball back. It doesn't matter what they do.
She leads now 30 love. She serves. A backhand return from Sabatini. A forehand from Graf whipped across court, but just out. But if she does win this match, Christine, she'll look back at that 30-all point, that incredible get in the end.
This is the danger point, 30 love.
Yeah.
That's when it all goes wrong. That's when it all goes wrong.
Just relaxes a bit, hurries a bit. She serves now and has missed the first serve.
Let's see if we get the rumba on the second serve.
Not this time.
No.
It's just started.
Cha-cha-cha, I think that was for it.
Yes. A backhand slice return from Sabatini. Graf whips a forehand, plays a backhand volley in net, so she had the whole court.
Well, she did, but what a reaction volley from Gabriela on that first. She hit an invitingly short approach shot. Steffi came in, pounced on the passing shot reply, but Gabriela, only 20 feet away, made a reaction volley, testing the hands of Graf.
Well, I'm running out of words to describe the ebb and flow of this particular match. Every moment one thinks, Graf's going to win, or Sabatini's going to win. 30-all, Graf serves a good first serve. A forehand now from Graf into the backhand corner. She comes in behind it, and she's turning, and she's leaving it, and she does exactly the right thing, because the Sabatini backhand drifts over the sidelines. And here is Graf with a point to go ahead, 7-6. Having twice been within a game of defeat, having been within 2 points of defeat. Graf serves, a forehand return from Sabatini, a forehand from Graf into the backhand wing of Sabatini. She drives, a forehand drive from Graf into the backhand wing. Now Sabatini slices, Graf slices, cross court, here comes Sabatini, chipping and charging again. Is it in? What a shot from Graf! Of one that I thought might even have been out, and Graf raises one finger in the air as if to say, that is the one shot, and if I'm going to be number one in the world again, that is it.
Well, she can't raise two fingers out there, can she?
7 games to 6, final set.
Not yet. One more game, Fred. Beating Gabriela on a cross-court pass behind Gabriela's cross-court approach to the strength, but just too good from Steffi.
Fred is giggling away at himself, and that's lovely, actually. Just reduced the tension in the commentary box. Christine.
Yes, I think that Steffi's played 2 superb games, and as you said, David, that tremendous rally, I think, really turned the tide in a way. I think that will be the rally that the match hinged on. We haven't got there yet, though. A lot can happen between now and the end.
Yes, I thought 15 minutes ago, well, Graf had really blown it, and Sabatini was coming out to serve for her first Wimbledon title.
Yes, but again, it's the sort of tit for tat. Steffi laughing again at the fact that Gabriela won't go for the serve when she's serving for the match. But what an incredible slow motion replay. The Golden Eagle has landed.
Time.
And the victory signal with one finger in the air. She senses her chances now.
By the way, Sabatini started with the bandeau around the head, then she took it off, and now she's got it on again.
Well, now she has to serve to stay in the match, having twice served for the title, and the first serve is a nervy one, and it's into the net, and she plays with that little ribbon around her hair. Second serve, Graf is onto it on the forehand and gets the lucky net cord.
Love 15.
3 more net cords.
Maybe the gods.
You sound biased, Fred.
No.
Maybe the gods.
I've enjoyed this. This has been a good scrap.
Maybe the gods, who've been pretty cruel to Steffi, are now being kind. She plays a forehand into the backhand wing of Sabatini, who slices cross-court. Graf slices her backhand cross-court. Gabriela comes in behind an approach and is passed by Graf. And Graf is yelling, "Hola, Boris Becker."
That's too good. That was not a bad approach shot down the line.
30.
Steffi getting completely around that one.
And now it's Graf who is within 2 points of the title. 2 hours and 6 minutes. Sabatini, love 30 down, 6-7 down, final set. A forehand return from Graf, a forehand from Sabatini into the backhand wing of Graf. She slices across court deep, so does Sabatini. A forehand now from Graf down the centre, a forehand from Sabatini wide to the forehand of Graf, who just gets it up. Sabatini plays a high forehand volley. Graf tries to pass them, but it's out.
Gabriel, don't give up now, Steffi. We could do with more matches like this.
Yes. This last set has been wonderful to watch. The tension of it all. The tennis has not always been of the highest quality. Some of it has been brilliant, but as a contest it's been compelling. A forehand return from Graf, a backhand slice from Sabatini. Graf goes forehand down the line. Sabatini slices deep to the baseline. Graf gets very tucked up, gets her forehand in though, deep to the far end. Graf now slices the backhand deep to the forehand of Sabatini. Now Graf slices with no pace this time. The rally just slows down for a minute. Graf, a slice cross court, so does Sabatini. Graf thinks about coming in. She does come in. Sabatini passes her. It hits the top of the net and falls back on Sabatini's side.
15-40.
Very, very important point. Steffi, the one finding the faith to get in on those cross-court slices. Gabriela, the one attacking with greater consistency throughout the match. Failed to do so there.
2 hours.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
2 hours and 7 minutes. And now Graf has 2 championship points. Sabatini serves. A forehand from Graf cross-court. It's a winner! What a way to reclaim your title! Steffi Graf lifts a left hand this time into the air. She has the biggest grin you have ever seen on her face. And this girl who has gone through so much.
2-1, 6-4, 3-6, 8-6.
Steffi Graf, who has gone through so much, has come back, has been tested to the limit, and has stood the test, and has regained her Wimbledon title, and who knows now what she is capable of. Graf is the champion.
Yes, David. She is. She's crying. She's never felt this way before in her life. She used to be a machine. Now she's a woman.
Christine, that was wonderful.
It was, and I think the last 3 games were so close that somehow she suddenly forgot all the inner turmoil, and she seemed to play like the old Steffi Graf, and the forehands that we remembered were again in vogue, and Gabriela Sabatini really couldn't get her racket to them, and I think that was the deciding factor. But a truly great final. It is heartbreaking for Gabriela to have been so close, to have almost felt she was there, and then to have it snatched away. But that's tennis.
Fred?
Well, I must say that will go down as a great final. There's no doubt about that, because I think the emotion, I think there was a lot more emotion out there today than in most ladies singles matches or ladies singles finals, for many, many reasons. I think Gabriela Sabatini and her crew have done a heck of a job in the past year in learning how to play Steffi Graf. Steffi's had her problems, but I must say one thing. I always felt that it would be a long time after Australia that she'd win another major, and the one she could possibly win would be here. When push came to shove, it was Sabatini who cracked. And for the last couple of games, I think she had a terrible trouble in getting the racket to work at all.
Well, just interjecting with a comment that Gabriela has now left the court. I don't know whether it's simply distress or whether she needed to go to the bathroom before we have the presentation ceremony. That's why there's a slight delay. So, Christine, further thoughts from you?
Yes, I still feel that Steffi, even though she's won this Wimbledon, and really it's hard to recapture your old form when you've been at the top, and a tremendous achievement to have won. But I still feel, I don't know whether Fred and Barbara would agree, that perhaps it's not the time now you've won the title to take a break, but to see her under such strain and pressure, it somehow makes me feel tense. And I just wish she could perhaps she will now, relax and enjoy the game.
Yeah. Frew McMillan, I know, is next door. Frew, do you think now that this will be the remaking of Steffi Graf, having come through everything and having been pushed literally to the wire, as the Americans would say, in this match, but winning it, it will remake her career?
Well, I really think that this has been a personal battle that she's now overcome, and I'm glad to say she's beaten the press, she's beaten the vipers, she's beaten the greasy slugs in Germany, and she's beaten the demons elsewhere in the world who have tried to keep her down. And I personally really think it's a monumental achievement. It didn't look for a while as if it were going to happen today, because Sabatini, I think, at that stage, at one point where Steffi was able somehow to release the tension of her mind by her great athleticism, when she just let herself go for that one particular point that I think turned the whole match. It was a complete release of all the things that had troubled her, the tension that has been built up within her over the last 2 years. So I think it's the champion returned, and I am really pleased about it.
Well, the applause now is for Sabatini returning, and now here come the Duke and Duchess of Kent. The Duke, of course, the patron of the club, and his wife in appropriate Wimbledon colours, Christine.
Yes, she looks as if she's going to play a game of tennis herself. She's all in white, a very smart suit indeed, with a scalloped skirt and a scalloped jacket round the edge to match, and her hair cut shorter, but in the same style, back from her face, and very smart, very effective, with a little black kerchief sticking out of her lapel.
And as always, they go down the line of the ball boys and the ball girls. Just looking if our little ball girl who had the accident with Andre Agassi is in this particular lineup. No, I don't think so. I think she'll have a chance probably tomorrow. They do such a superb job. They used to, of course, come from Dr. Bernardo's homes, but now they're just drawn from the local schools in the boroughs of Merton and Wandsworth here in London. And behind the Duke and Duchess stands John Curry, the chairman of the All England Club, and Ian King, the president of the Lawn Tennis Association. I should imagine John Curry a week ago was wondering if we'd ever see these championships end at the appropriate time on the second weekend. Of course, we still have a day to go, but Alan Mills, the referee who's out there, and his staff have done a wonderful job getting the matches back to schedule. And now the Duchess comes forward, shakes hands with Chris Gorringe, the chief executive of the All England Club, and so does the Duke. And now we await the moment of the presentation. These days, it's the runner-up who goes forward, Gabriela Sabatini. Little curtsy, broad smile on the face of the Duchess. She loves her tennis, and she'll have loved this match, as we all have, and it's a long conversation. And Gabby, nice to see her smiling, because she must be crying inside her heart. She's come so close, served for the championship twice, but she'll be back, I'm sure of that. And she shows her small salva to the crowd, all of them on their feet, in recognition of the part she has played in a great match. And here comes the champion. And again, a really animated conversation with the Duchess and then with the Duke. And that special moment when you get your hands on that very, very special trophy, the plate, which is gleaming in the most glorious sunshine and is shone on a glorious match this afternoon. Still they talk. And now Steffi lifts up that magnificent trophy and turns to show it to every corner of this very special amphitheatre. She shakes hands with John Curry. Jane Tabor, a moment that will always live in her memory, just as it lives in mine. Goes up to be presented to the Duke and Duchess. Only the second woman ever to umpire a singles final here at Wimbledon. Georgina Clark, who's now a senior official with the Women's Tennis Association, was the first in 1984 when she umpired the ladies' singles final that year. So there is the scene. The champion comes forward to show her trophy to the massed ranks of photographers. The packed centre court crowd stands. They will enjoy this moment just as Steffi does, because Steffi Graf has won her third Wimbledon title in a classic match that lasted 2 hours and 7 minutes. She won it 8-6 in the final set.